وكذلك أوحينا إليك روحا من أمرنا ما كنت تدري ما الكتاب ولا الإيمان ولكن جعلناه نورا نهدي به من نشاء من عبادنا وإنك لتهدي إلى صراط مستقيم صراط الله الذي له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض ألا إلى الله تصير الأمور.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Living in the West, a series of programs where we try to provide some ideas for the Muslim minorities in the West on their vision and their strategy. I have with me Shaikh Haitham Al-Haddad from the Muslim Research and Development Foundation in the UK, an organisation which aims to provide solutions to their problems. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, Shaykh, in previous episodes we've spoken extensively about the vision, believing in a vision, and then we looked at the total holistic approach, which is Tawheed, Ibadah in its holistic approach. This is a vision for the Muslim minorities. In the last episode, we're speaking about the community, what their priorities are. We spoke about some arguments that people say that coexistence, what you're speaking about, what we want, is something which is not really achievable. And I just want to start on that, if possible, and ask you, this model of coexistence, do you think it will ever exist? Does it exist somewhere else? Because if you go into a society and live in a society, rather you live how they want you to live, rather than saying, this is a system that I'm implementing, and we have to live together with this system.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. See, there is a difference between what should we achieve and what the reality is. And I know that this is a very difficult thing to achieve, but we have to achieve it. There is no way around it. And the Western governments, many of them now started to realize that there is a real problem and they have to find a solution for it. Now, for example, America, and trying to enforce their own version of democracy on the world. Now, they are receiving so many criticism, especially after their failure in Iraq. They said, you have to admit, many thinkers, and even Fukuyama mentioned something like this, that you have to admit that there are different cultures, there are different religions, different countries. Everyone wants to live his own self, by his own beliefs and his own system. So you have to leave them alone. You cannot force your system on them, your beliefs, your creed, etc. So this is something that they are realizing. Even within countries, they are admitting that there are different cultures, different communities. Each community has its own needs. And this can take place. Of course, we as Muslims, we believe that this coexistence cannot take place unless they are living under the umbrella of Al-Islam, under the system of Al-Islam. But, Brother Jamil and brothers, we have to differentiate between a situation of a necessity that we are dealing with and the ultimate aim in an ideal situation. Now we are talking about minorities living in the West, so we have to provide them with workable solutions in the short run. And as we said, these visions and strategies are meant to be for a short run, means within 50 years, something like this. It is not the far ultimate aim of Muslims, because the far ultimate aim for Muslims is to have Islam governing the whole world, Islamization of the whole globe. This is the ultimate aim of any Muslim and of all communities, Muslim communities. But we are not talking about that at the moment. We are talking about the immediate goals. So in terms of immediate goals, we need this peaceful coexistence. And they claim that they are promoting it, and we need to take it from there. And we need to tell them that this peaceful coexistence, in order to have a real peaceful of coexistence, then we need to talk about real multiculturalism. We have to talk about real pluralism. And you said, if you remember in the previous episode, the discussion that many people have, which is, yes, you are calling for multiculturalism, means Islam to be officially recognized as a religion in all these European countries, and Muslim needs are fulfilled officially within these countries. But when Western people go to countries like Saudi Arabia or go to other countries, their needs are not fulfilled. We mentioned the first point, which is that we as British Muslims, as people holding the passport, holding the citizenship, holding the nationality, we are part of the society. We became part of the society. They accepted us as part of the society. So they have to cater for us. Unlike Western people, when they go to Saudi Arabia, they go as visitors. So they have to abide by the law of the hosting country. So the situation is different. There is one more point, which is a very important point, that when Western people go to Saudi Arabia, for example, they want to live according to their system. See, let us not talk here. And I appeal to all the brothers and sisters, and I appeal also to the Western audience. Let us not talk about you and me, us and them. Let us talk about what is best for you, what is better for me, what is better for all of us, what is better for humanity. What is better? Is democracy, as it is understood now, is better for all our societies? Is Western values are better for our societies? Western people, when they go to Saudi Arabia, they want to drink alcohol. And in Saudi Arabia, it is banned. And they are saying, oh, when we go to Saudi Arabia, we stop drinking alcohol, so here you have to accept our values. No, forget about our values and your values. What is better, to allow people to drink alcohol or to stop people from drinking alcohol? I think they themselves admit that if we have a society without alcohol, that is better for the society. Financial-wise, in terms of crimes, in terms of even health-wise. Maybe you have seen the latest report by Lancet Institutional something. And they said that it is traditionally known that drinking alcohol, a minimum amount of alcohol, is better for the heart. But they said that this has been proven wrong. And even drinking a little amount is considered to be harmful, or at least they said that the harm is far greater than the benefits we can get from alcohol. As if they are articulating the Quranic verse, وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. So they admit that there is a real problem. They admit that this obscenity and not dressing properly and this sexual myth is a real problem. So they want to go to Saudi Arabia and not to dress properly, etc. Not because it is the culture, the Saudi culture. No, because that is better even for the Western people. So it is not a matter of we are unable to implement our system there, and you should implement the system here. Let us have sincere debates among communities, among systems, among Islam or between Islam and the West. What is better? And this is the real debate.
So this is what I was going to return to. This is what a lot of the so-called skeptics say. See, they say that what Shaikh Haitham, what you're saying is what the aims of this multiculturalism is, which is for Islam to take over. Because Islam now, you're saying that, look, the problem is that we need to find out what's actually better for society as a whole.
Yeah.
So really, you're calling to society to accept Islam. So really, this is the disguise, this multiculturalism. Really, it's not about multiculturalism. It's about getting Islam into the door. What do you say to that kind of point?
Even if we say that, what's wrong with that? Because this is our aim at the end of the day. And I don't want to react as so many Muslims reacted towards the issue of integration when they had this attack. They said, no, we are integrated. I don't want to say, no, we are not going to take over. Our ultimate aim is not a matter of taking over using this terminology. Our ultimate aim as Muslims is to see Islam spreading all over the world and to see the word of Allah Jalla wa Ala dominant on the whole globe. Because justice will never be achieved unless the word of Allah Jalla wa Ala is dominant. This is very simple. Allah Jalla wa Ala says in the Quran, لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْمِيزَانَ وَالْكِتَابَ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ. What? لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ.
Justice, yeah.
So people may achieve justice. وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْكِتَابَ means the revelation, the wahi. وَالْقِسْط, the balance. وَالْمِيزَان, balance, the balance. So, means the ultimate goal of every single message is what? To achieve justice. Without revelation, there will be no justice. That's why we can say clearly, yes, our end ultimate goal is this. However, we are not talking about our end ultimate goal because we as Muslims are not ready for it. What we are saying is that we need the immediate goals, which is to have pluralism, multiculturalism, because this is the only way for us to show our experience, to share our experience with other societies, as well as protect our identity.
Okay, this is a good point to stop, because I've got a question on this knee-jerk reaction from the Muslim communities, and maybe we can tackle this in the second part. I'll leave you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
When you are weak and the road seems long, remember, just remember, 16.
We're looking at the names of Allah from the perspective of not only their understanding, knowing what they are, knowing what they mean, but also looking at how they should impact on our lives. We should gain from it a sense of Allah, the vastness of Allah's mercy, how it encompasses every aspect of His creation. Al-Malik, Al-Malik, and Al-Malik. Al-Malik translated as the sovereign Lord, Al-Malik, the owner, and Al-Malik, the king. In the names of Allah.
Allah is the only guide. When your heart is breaking and your pain makes you fall, remember, just remember, Allah sees it all.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Living in the West. Shaykh Haitham, very interesting speaking about this coexistence. I think it's a really important topic. But he touched upon something, and we've spoken about it before. But I honestly, personally believe this is one of the biggest stumbling blocks for a Muslim community in the West. It's this inferiority complex that we seem to have. And you gave an example, and I'll give you an example, is whenever we are attacked as a community, unfortunately we are also internally attacked. This, of course, pulls us down even further. What do you have to say about this, Shaykh? How do we go about rectifying this, shall I say?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I agree that this is a real problem. And we have to get rid of that mentality. And we have to overcome that problem. I'm not saying that this is easy. I'm not saying that what we want to achieve is achievable easily. We need to get rid of that. That's why that's why we talk to the youth and we are telling them, just take it slowly. We cannot overcome all these problems just overnight. It takes years and years. The Khilafah fell down within how many years? It took more than 100 years for the Khilafah to fall down. Actually, some people say, some historians, Muslim historians say, that at least 150 years. So, do you want to build something just over years? No, it is very difficult. Even, we had a discussion with some rabbis from the Jewish community in the UK, and when we were talking about this Sharia and personal law, etc., and they said, well, you guys, Muslims, are rushing towards that. We could achieve what we have achieved now in the UK after a long struggle, more than 200 years of struggle.
That's right.
And you want to achieve that within 5 or 10 or even 50 years? It's impossible. So we have to be careful, and we have to take that into consideration. I agree that we have to have a process, a plan to achieve what we want to achieve. And this is what we are lacking behind. And I agree that we are not doing enough in order to formulate, as we said in the beginning, a vision, a strategy, and a plan to achieve that. And this is the hope that the younger generations can really work together in order to formulate achievable goals and achievable or implementable plans. And this issue of whether this will take place or not, anyway, as we said, that we have to struggle. And the very important point here is to educate Muslims in order to get rid of that inferiority complex, and to teach Muslims that this how it goes, and this how it should go, and this is the only way for us as Muslims forward.
I think generally as people, the Muslims, unfortunately, and we are part of this ummah, struggle is something that we're very scared of. Something that I think maybe in the West is, if you can delay struggle for a comfortable life, then have the comfortable life. So I think that's maybe one of the reasons we are in this problem. Do you think?
I agree. For example, take this issue of Muslim personal law to be recognized. I sit with so many Muslims, telling them, asking them, why don't you support it? They said, some of them agree, this is part of our problem, is that they don't know about it. Some of them, they said, well, non-Muslims will never accept it. Okay, non-Muslims will never accept it, but we have to struggle. They said it's a long way. We have to start. Yeah, we agree that it is a long way. Who said that it is a very short way? No, we have to start somewhere.
Okay, now we spoke about education. I think is a good way to get into education now, finally. Education, okay, as a priority for Muslim community, Shaykh. How do we go about addressing this topic? Because, we've got parts of multiculturalism in here. We've got parts of understanding our rights as Muslims and what we should be taught, or what our children should be taught. How do we enter this kind of topic, especially as a priority?
If we achieve this official recognition by the governments, then directly or indirectly they will admit that the Muslim community has their own needs, and they will start catering for these needs within the educational system. For example, it will be officially recognized that Muslims are skeptical towards sexual education, and they have their own needs. So they can cater for that, and now they are already catering for them. It is true that it is unofficial, but there is a level of catering for these needs. For example, in schools, especially now in Muslim areas, where the teachers know that the majority of the students are Muslims, they don't force this sexual education because they know that Muslims are against it. So the first step is to achieve this official recognition. The second step is to go from the other side. Now, official recognition is to go from top to bottom. The other one is to go from bottom to top. And if you remember the case where now officially Muslim women, veiled Muslim women officially can attend courts. Maybe if you are aware of the judicial advisory body and their advice to the judicial system to allow veiled Muslim women to attend courts as witnesses, even as barristers, etc. And whenever they need to see their faces in order to have their identity checked or to have some other things, then they said we can have certain setups in order to facilitate for that. So, see, this is going from top to bottom.
That's a remarkable thing to achieve.
Of course. And this is what we are saying, that we need to work from top to bottom. From bottom to top and from top to bottom and from bottom to top. In terms of education, there is a lot going on. And now even the British government is asking for counselling with regards to education and the needs of children. And some Muslims provided their papers in order to advise the educational authorities. So we need to work, for example, that Muslims are skeptical towards sexual education. Muslim girls, they have a special dress code, and that has to be officially recognized, and they should not be forced to go against their beliefs. There are some other things, like, for example, musical classes. Muslims have problems with it, so they have to cater for that as well. And Muslims have to work hard in order to achieve that. And by the way, for example, in East London, do you know that some schools there, because the vast majority of the students there are Muslims, do you know that officially in the school constitution, the dress code includes the word jilbab?
SubhanAllah.
The word jilbab. See, we can achieve much if we are committed, if we want. And now there are 4 faith-based schools, Muslim schools funded by the governments. Of course, they have some requirements in terms of music, etc., but the brothers there, they are working around it. Shaykh Abdul Hadi in Birmingham, they could achieve to have a state school as a Muslim school by, first of all, applying for governors' positions, and then all of the governors, I think, or most of them are Muslims. Then they put the laws to govern that school. So that school became, although it is a state school, but so became...
That's from bottom up, basically.
This is from bottom to up.
Okay, Shaykh Haitham, if I could ask, this is another, I'm going to give you some views of people who will differ to what you've just said here. For example, you're saying here that, we have to push forward for a personal law. Parts of our Islamic personal being accepted. And then the steps that will follow from this, of course, are education. What if they say to you, well, actually, if we agree to live the way that the West wants us to, they will automatically give us these rights. Because schools automatically, when they see there's a need, and the democracy allows this, people will say, okay, there's a need for this minority. Do you really think there needs to be a fight for this? Or do you really think that these people have a bit of a point to say that some things come automatically? Or is everything got to be fought for, struggled for?
No, I don't believe. No one believes that these things will come automatically. You have to ask. You have to demand in order to get what you want to get. For example, this hijab to be recognized. Muslims asked for it. They didn't give.
But some will argue that, say that, hold on, you're in East London, which is a predominantly Muslim area, it's always been accepted. It's only been a problem, it's when the Muslims have exceeded and said, hold on, we just don't want jilbab, we want niqab to be accepted. So the basic elements have always been accepted. So what do you have to say to that? And they say it's always been accepted, the basic elements. It's only when the Muslims have gone forward and expounded.
No, we are talking about official recognition. Not just because this is Muslims and this is how they dress, so it is okay, we are...
But they say you don't need official recognition because from bottom up we always get where we need to get to.
No, because official recognition, because once there is a problem, then the official recognition will support it. For example, the case of the sister in High Wycombe, and where her previous sister used to attend some classes where there a male teacher with niqab. But after this niqab row, veil row, they stopped her from attending the other sister, her sister. They stopped her from attending some classes with the veil on. Why? Because there is a problem. Now, she does not have official backing.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the reason we need to establish an official is so we have some recourse. We have some way to go and apply this, somebody to defend us on this. If everything's bottom upwards, we have nothing to back us up, basically. Is this what you're saying?
Yes. And see, once we have that official recognition, believe me, and maybe there are some Western audience, the myth of this extremism, the myth of violence, the myth of all of these things, I think will be removed, because the youth will feel belonging to those countries, because they feel that their needs are fulfilled. And they are not very, very far from some Muslim countries.
Okay. Well, Jazakallah, Shaykh Haitham Al-Haddad from the Muslim Research and Development Foundation. An excellent episode. We spoke about some of the most important topics of living in the West, trying to find a solution. Well, I'll leave you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.